I'm Rebecca. I met Mordecai through mutual friends.
Storms of life are raging, cross darkness fills the earth, strife among the nations, pestilence and fire.
So what happened is I was going to visit South Africa for work, and then they told me that, hey, by the way, he's usually in South Africa. So that was back in 2018. So what happened is I had been sent by work to South Africa. So I went, then I texted him and I was like, hey, are you in South Africa? Then he was like, no, I'm not there. Then he's like, oh, but I'll be there on Tuesday. So that was Sunday night. So my previous experience in South Africa was I had gone, then I used to just go back to my hotel after work, and I never used to know anybody. So I had shared that with him, and he was so determined to make my experience different and take me around. So what used to happen is I used to come back from work in the night, but in the night he will take me around. He took me to Mandela Square, he took me to Pretoria, he gave me the experience of the How train and all that. So that's how I met Mordecai, living life. Yeah, all those experiences taking me around, and it wasn't just me, it was me and my workmate. So he's able to just do that for everybody and anybody and everyone. Yeah, one of my best memories is him taking me to one of the good hotels there at Santon City and eating a steak. Yeah, I remember it was really huge. I would describe Mordecai as complicated. He had very many layers to him, and he was able to express a lot of love, and also he would make your emotions sometimes go up or low, whichever way, but that was just him. He was always just being sincere and himself. I remember him one day telling me that he's not perfect, but he tries his best to be sincere. So me and Mordecai never really met in church, because it's like our initial connection was meeting in South Africa, and beyond that it was just talking about our life in the technology world. But when I said the memory I have of church, talking about church and Mordecai, is just last September at his brother's wedding. When he came back, he told me that during the COVID, when he was in South Africa, that he'd found God, and I couldn't have been happier to hear that, because he told me that his relationship with God had been closer, and he had seen God in a different way, I will say that. Yeah.
Did he tell you how, that way that he had seen God? Which aspect did you try to explain to you how he found God to be?
I guess it was when you're in your lowest moments, and as you know, Mordecai, he used to have people around him, but during the COVID pandemic, he couldn't even go see a friend who was close by. So it's like he was forced to stay alone, and he was not that type of a person. And I think during that time, he was able to find his way and get a closer relationship with God. Yeah. I think that was one thing about me and Mordecai. I never was interested in meeting his friends, and it's just because I was that type of a person. I was not social. I remember our first fight was I was going to visit him in Webuye, and he was like, okay, let me invite my friends so we can go together. And I was like, no, I don't want your friends there. That's when I realized that he loves people, and he just loves people around him and everybody, and wants to give everybody an experience. So actually, on the other hand, I'm the one who introduced him to some friends in South Africa, because he told me that when he was in South Africa, he used to find friends online. So I made sure that I would find some believers down there so that he can be able to have good friends. One thing that if I look back on Mordecai's life, that I will learn is live life to the fullest and enjoy each moment. Make time for your friends, your family, and everybody around you, and also work so hard, because he always used to encourage me to work harder. He used to help me know how to make sure my CV is noticeable, my LinkedIn profile. So on the other side, as much as we will see him as someone who loved going places, traveling and all that, on the other side he was actually really working hard. So I believe that was a balanced life, I would say. Mordecai impacted my life in different type of ways. Professionally, I remember we used to have talks about working in big tech, and he used to encourage me like how I will do, how to code and how to make sure I polish up my skills. He will follow up with me, did you do this, did you do that? Even just before he left for South Africa, he shared with me materials and what to do. So I will say there, he really impacted my life and showed me, hey, you can always be better. And personally, I'll always be thankful that he was in my life, because the experiences I had and just knowing there's more to life.
There's something that you mentioned about him telling you this one, check on this, try and do better in this. So would you say like he mentored you in different aspects of life? Or
Yeah.
he taught you was like that big brother who will help you here, correct you here, just make you
Never a
better?
big brother. Yeah, I would say especially professionally, he really impacted me, because I was in a place where I wasn't sure where to go and how to go professionally. It's like the way you have fantasies of, hey, maybe one day I can work here, one day I can work there. But he kind of made me see that it can actually be a reality, and I started applying. Okay, like for me, I started in support, but where I was working, I always wanted to move and work for something else. And as in going to software engineering, I also wanted to change jobs. So I remember I always used to share with him that, hey, I want another job. I want to just get out of here. I want to do something else. And he would always, I remember the first time he told me, hey, just work on your skills. Take time, work on your skills, get better, do this, do that. And I was like, do I do it here, or what do you mean I work on my skills? Do you mean I become better at my job? Then I was like, no, personally, just work on your skills themselves. Just make sure you're better. And I was like, okay, I see, I understand. Mordecai loved people, and that is something I'll always remember about him. I remember when he invited me to visit his home, he didn't, I saw it as a big step, where you think you're going to see family, and I was like, no, I can never come to your home. And so he took like a day or two to explain to me that, hey, everybody visits my home and it's open for everyone, and it means absolutely nothing when you visit my home. But that wasn't true. It meant something to him, because that's just who he was as a person. He wanted to have people visit him, see his home, and he loved hosting people. That's something I'll always remember about him. There are always people around him. I remember one time he was in Nairobi, and then he was running low on money, but there was a friend of his mom that had lost a child, but it was his job to take her around. But so in a way he was panicking that he will be low on money, but he took it as his duty to make sure she was very, very comfortable and taking her around. And I was like, wow, how selfless. So that's something I'll always remember about him. He was very selfless. Even just me visiting South Africa at that time, I didn't spend any money when going from place to place, it was always him. He would take a taxi and take me around. And then also another time I remember I was going to Mozambique, and it was all the way back to Kenya, but he organized for me to get transport from the airport to the hotel, because in Mozambique they speak Portuguese, so there was language barrier and I didn't know what to do. But he followed up making sure I got transport from the hotel, from the airport to the hotel, and that was just something I look back and I'm like, wow, who does that to people? Someone who's selfless. Yeah.
Eu posso sentir as mãos de Cristo a me levar, me guiando ao lar. Senhor, olho mais além. So many among us are hurting.
If I was to tell Mordecai the last words, they will be, you achieved everything you wanted. You wanted to travel, you wanted to live life, you wanted to work for big tech, and here you are just over there. So you lived life.
And those skin worms destroyed his body. I could